Good evening, Padawans and Padawins. It is I, the Redneck, and it is Monday night. You know what that means. Yes, my friends, 2 Ewoks in the Park is back. I'm the Redneck JT. I got the Geek Sully right over here next to me. Tonight, we're going to have some fun. We are going to talk about episodes 4 and possibly 5 of the Star Wars series Skeleton Crew. Good stuff. So, do me a favor, grab something to drink, whatever adult beverage it is that you like to imbibe yourselves on, something to munch on, sit back in that beanbag chair, relax, and enjoy the show, because Sully, it's all yours.
Oh, why, thank you. Hello, everybody, and welcome to 2 Ewoks in the Park. I am Sully. I love that warm intro that you always do, JT. It's just wonderful. And I'm not being sarcastic about that either. I'm just letting you know. So let's go.
I enjoy doing it too. You know, it's fun because we don't have to like play some, canned opening or something like that. I can kind of personalize it and all that. So it's fun.
That is true. You can.
At least I can try to anyway.
Absolutely, positively, absolutely. Yep.
So far, so good, but, I probably just cursed myself for next week.
Well, I hope not.
Me too.
I mean, I do want to do an intro eventually. I've been working on it for so long.
Well, I mean, what we could do is, you have the intro, but then I do a little mini thing just before you start it.
Yeah.
And then we could do it that way. Drop into the show like that.
Absolutely. We can figure it out. But let's get down to the nitty gritty here because we got a lot to go over and very little time to do it because, wow, holy crap.
There's a whole lot of shit going on.
Oof. Episode 4 of Skeleton Crew. Can't say I remember no Atten.
Nice.
Want to say happy New Year's Eve to Neil. For us, it's New Year's Eve. So for him, it's right. New Year's Eve. He's going to hit. He's talking to us from the future.
Only 5 hours in the future, though.
Still the future. He travels back to the past. Just saying. So hello, sir. We miss you. We hope school is going well for you. But yes, episode 4, I can't say I remember no Atten, is going to get beaten into your head like crazy with this episode. Yep. And I mean like we're going to take a sledgehammer and smash your head in with it.
Right. Especially in this episode.
Yes. So just remember, can't say I remember no Atten. Because why not? Why not? We last left where they were leaving. What's it called? Their friend there. The owl.
Kim the owl.
Kim the owl. Yes, and they left the planet, and they arrive on a planet called Atrin. That's right. Atrin. Not Atten, Atrin. Now, if you'll also remember, JT, you can back me up on this one. You and I have both stated that Atten has absolutely no idea about the fall of the Old Republic. They have no idea about the rise of the Galactic Empire, and they have no idea about the fall of the Galactic Empire, leaving room for the New Republic.
I kind of look at it like this. They don't know anything that has happened outside of their barrier over the last, let's say 1,000 years.
Give or take.
Give or take a little bit.
Give or take. Which means Atrin is a completely different planet and is completely war-torn between a civil war that they're having And well, let's face it. Did you really think they would make it home in episode 4?
Not that quick.
Not that quick, no.
Maybe episode 5, maybe, but not 4.
Because what is it? 5 already came out also, so 6 is tomorrow, I believe. Which means, want to say, wow, I'm dying. I want to say hi to Tracy. I am. I'm good. She's chiming in and giving us a nice little wave on Facebook. Hello, my dear. How are you? Miss you. Hope your Christmas and New Year's is going to be wonderful. And, of course, I'm going to make her laugh entirely because, yeah, that's how I roll. And I always make her laugh. But that's besides the point. So, with Atchin, this is a war-torn planet. They're fighting a civil war. It's not where they need to be. However,
it is where they need to be.
It kind of is. Because the Onyx Cinder goes past, a couple of satellites and lands, and they do whatever. And Wim, Fern, Neil, and KB think they're home. But no.
Quickly disappointed they will be.
Yes.
Oh, wait, I said that wrong. Quickly disappointed they will be.
Especially when Jod goes, this isn't your planet. There's no way. Very cynical, that guy.
Reminds me of my home planet.
Yeah. A little destroyed.
Smells of ashy metal or something like that, and then reminds me of my home planet.
Well, but the other thing is, it looks like at Aden because they see the suburbs that they have on their planet.
Right.
But the difference is the suburbs are old. They're destroyed. Like the ceilings are collapsing in on some of the buildings. And
trees are growing through the entire house.
Yeah. So it's very similar to Aden. We'll call it the sister planet. That's probably the best way I could put it, is that it's a sister planet.
I would have to agree with that. It's almost like a duplicate planet kind of thing, maybe.
Well,
it's kind of like, in Marvel where you have the different timelines.
Yes. Alternate realities.
And this is, kind of a different timeline of the opposite of Aden.
Yeah.
Kind of how I looked at it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, once they land and they see the charred remains of many of the buildings, they're like, wait a second. Okay, what's going on? And when John says, well, no, I don't think we're on Aden. So where are we? And Fern says to SM33, okay, you need to watch Jod. We're going for a walk. And out of nowhere, SM33 just goes, I'm in babysitting mode now.
Yeah. Activating babysitting mode. Come here, baby. Get on the ship, baby. Don't make me count.
Which, to be honest, I mean, if you said that to any type of pirate, that's exactly the type of thing that they would say. Come on, Let's go. We got potatoes to peel. Come on, let's do it. So the children go off exploring. They're basically walking through the neighborhoods that they know. Only they're seeing these destroyed houses. They're seeing trees growing through the structures, like you mentioned before. And even KB is noticing that the age of the trees, this has been this way for years.
Yeah.
Years. And that's when Neil goes, this isn't at Aden, but it looks like at Aden. What's going on? Where are we? And that's when Wim asks, did we fall asleep for like 100 years or something? Does anybody
Like in the Tales of the Night.
Yes. The Tales of the Knights. Which clearly, for Wim, he's tying these adventures from some of the books that he's read or seen to the old Jedi Knights, the Knights of the Republic, And for him, I'm getting the sense, and again, I've been saying this show is like Goonies since day one.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of like...
I actually described it that way to somebody this past weekend.
Did you?
When we were at a little family Christmas party, and I was talking to somebody about Skeleton Crew.
Okay, all right. And did they agree?
They were like, "Oh, well, I hadn't watched it yet."
Okay.
And we were kind of talking about it and everything. And I asked him, I says, "Do you like Goonies?" And I knew he did. He's like, "Yeah, I love Goonies." He goes, "This has a pure Goonies feel to it." And he's
Absolutely.
like, "Oh, really?" I'm like, "Yeah,
absolutely." And everybody that I've spoken to about this also agrees that it's got that Goonies feel to it. That it's just an excellent adventure that's happening right now.
The Excellent Adventures of Pee Wee Herman."
You know what I mean, Burton? So,
want to go on an adventure, Vern?
Come on, Vern. So while they're there, the first thing that Vern kind of starts going on Neil's side of things now, going, okay, we're not on at Adam. No, we didn't fall asleep. Like you can see Neil is kind of evolving as a character. Yes, he is a little bit of a scaredy cat. We know this. We've seen it from episode 1. But now he's starting to kind of click. Things are starting to yes, he's a kid. He's out of his element. He wants to get home. But he's also starting to learn from Fern, KB, and even Jod that, out here is not what it's supposed to be. It's not your normal, hey, everything is cupcakes and rainbows, Right. So he's learning that very quickly he needs to adjust the way he thinks.
Yeah. Life definitely isn't the safe, protected,
right,
kind of life that you have enjoyed for the last 10 plus years for the entirety of your life, really, on Aten. The real world outside of the barrier is a whole new place.
It's a whole new ball game.
Whole new freaking ball game.
Which gets KB to start remembering what Kim said. First of all, don't trust Jod. We know this. Mm-hmm. But it was what she said to them while she was, answering their questions and doing searches and trying to narrow things down to get them the coordinates that they need to get to Aten. In this case, the coordinates that she really needed was for this, at Atchen, because there was something here. And she even said that this is one of the lost jewels of the Old Republic.
Right.
Which, in that case, how many are there? And I'm not talking an actual jewel or a trophy or anything like that.
Well, this is one of the group of 9 planets that was hidden from the rest of the universe.
Which, if you think about it, was probably the best thing to do, because could you imagine if the Emperor got his hands on these planets?
Right. Well, and the thing of it is, it can't, if she was to really analyze things, it can't be, because she said that 8 of the 9 were destroyed.
Yep. Which...
And Aten is the only one remaining.
Right. Which, if you think about it, Atchen is destroyed. It's a war-torn planet. They're fighting each other. They're killing each other. They're doing what they need to do. Do we have...
They didn't know that yet.
Right.
At this point in the film, they didn't know that yet, though.
Right. No, they didn't know it at all. But KB says, we need to find some of the locals here and see if they can help us. They can help us find Aden, because if this is one of the lost jewels of the old Republic, they know where the other planets are, which to me would make sense. So let's go for a little hike. Let's see what's what. Of course, at the same time, Jod is going through all the kids' stuff. Sees a little hologram of a ballerina. Starts going through all their bags, including Wim's, where he finds the Old Republic credits.
Mm-hmm.
He bites it. Does exactly what a pirate would do. Bites it, kind of. Is this real? Oh yeah, that's real. That's gonna hurt my teeth in the minute. But
it's amazing to me that things that happened back in the days of the pirate.
Yep.
The original pirate on the water kind of thing is still around.
Well, sure.
So long after that.
Sure.
I
mean, that's one of the things, like, if you're going to do a show that has that Goonies feel to it with a feel of the Pirates of the Caribbean and throw it into space, like with Star Wars, you kind of have to have those elements.
Yeah. Their attention to detail is simply amazing.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Especially when SM-33 kind of sneaks up on Jod and goes, "Hey,
thief."
But then he goes, okay. Puts him up against the bulkhead and he starts laughing. And Jod's like, no, it's just me. It's just me. And then SM-33 says, "I'm sorry, but I believe we're on at Atrin. And something in the atmosphere is playing tricks on my circuits." I don't think so. Something else is going. Let's mess with them. Let's mess with them and see what's what. And that's when he says, this planet is a dangerous place. And when John asks about Aden, and he goes, are we on Aden? That's when SM-33 says, "I can't remember no Aden." Number one.
Right.
I kept track. But he walks away. And then Jod says, "Well, I can help re-jog your memory if you want." He just walks away. Just keeps walking. While that's happening, we catch up with the kids again. And this time they're walking through the streets. Obviously, kids are kids. Wim plays with a plank. They find a beheaded statue.
Mr. No Head.
King with no head. I believe that's what, if I remember correctly, what Wim nicknames him. King with no head. Neil's like, "I don't like this planet. We need to leave. This is creepy." You can see the fear coming back out of him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when we start hearing blaster fire.
It hits the neck of the headless statue.
Yep. Obviously, kids are kids. They're going to get scared, and they now see themselves in the middle of two masked figures, one of which is pretty young, and says, "What flag are you flying?"
"What flag do you fly? What the hell are you talking about?"
Like, huh? What? Say what? And then they're saying, "Well, who are you?" And that's when one of them introduces himself as Troik. She takes off her helmet. Nice young girl, brown hair, definitely a fighter.
Right.
And she says that she's a fighter from the faction known as Hatton. Supposedly the good guys. Supposedly. We don't know that. But supposedly.
Right.
But she does press him. Who are you? And Wim says, are you guys an army of children fighting adults? Makes you makes you wonder where his mind is, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Especially for somebody who's always wanted to go on an adventure. Neil says, I'm Neil. We're just trying to get home.
Right.
That's all we're doing. We're just trying to get home. And that's when Troik leads them to a burned up tram, and whoa, hover tanks are coming through, passing patrols, and they're like, okay, you need to stay down. Don't move. Because, whoa, it's not going to be pretty. We even see Ewoks, which very large Ewoks. And God, I hope I pronounced that right. It's basically like a very big camel with a trunk and horns that'll certainly pierce you. I'm like, whoa. Those things are massive, but they're riding them. They're riding them through the village and everything.
Right.
So Troik says, we're going to go this way. We'll be safe here. Brought them to a school. And Neil at the time is like, it looks like our school. So this is like almost an exact replica of Ad-Adin. Only this time the school is a military base. They converted the whole thing.
Right.
So she introduces the crew to General Strix. Strix is the so-called, what would you say, the ruler of the planet of At-Akron.
He's the leader of this group.
Yeah, he's the leader. But
he's the
also,
leader of this group. I wouldn't say he's the ruler of anything else, because I mean they are at war with another clan.
Very true, they are,
or so it would seem.
Very true. But they also say, Troik also says that this is her father, and by the way, we spotted a herd of stolen Ewoks, and the enemy has them. And Fern says, well, I'm the captain of the group. And the boys are like, oh, they're freaking out, especially Neil. Neil's really freaking out. And General Strix says, okay, are you guys warriors? And Wim's like, no, we're kids.
Right.
We're kids. You know, what are we supposed to do? We're kids. You know? And that's when he goes, well, you know what? We're going to make warriors of you yet.
Pretty much.
What's your business here? What do you want? Tell me. And that's when they say they're looking for their homeworld of Ad-Adin again.
Or a map.
Or a map to Ad-Adin. Yes.
Yes.
And that's when Strix is like, I don't know Ad-Adin. I don't recall Ad-Adin. And they constantly...
It was interesting what he did say in response to that, which was, you know, they don't deal with off-land or off-worlders other than mainly to trade hides for munitions.
Right.
Which, in their situation, makes sense.
Oh, absolutely. Especially,
you know, I mean,
they're at war all the time.
Got to get your ammo from somewhere.
Right. Well, they talk about these ancient maps. At least Wim is bringing up the ancient maps. And Hannah, the daughter, or Troix, or however you want to say it, she's got like 3 different names. It's interesting. Says, well, what about the Fallen Sanctum? That has star maps in it. Maybe that has the information that they're looking for. And he kind of shushes her. Like, no, don't give that secret away, you know? But she's like, I mean, come on. It's got the old carvings. Why not? One of them could potentially be their home. So at least we know now that all the planets in some way, shape, or form, even though Kim said they were all there, and most of them were destroyed, that they are all linked in some way, shape, or form.
Right.
Right? So now I'm dying. I keep coughing. Sorry, folks.
We don't do that.
I keep hitting the mute button when I get really bad. It's easier. So Hannah clearly wants to go out of her way to help these kids. And she also thinks that they could get home. Strix, on the other hand, says, well, you know, it's a dangerous journey. We need to train you. You have potential.
Yeah.
Children are the future. But he wants to make them warriors. So he tells them to all go train as warriors.
Yeah.
Especially if you want to brave the Fallen Sanctum.
Right. Well, and it was neat because just before that, when, you know, we're just children, and his comment to that was, well, here we treat children as adults.
Yes. Which is interesting.
So, you know, it's one of those time to grow up fast kind of statements.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is interesting. Fern, however, says she's not afraid. Which makes sense. She's not.
Right.
To an extent. And they basically just go off and, come, let's go train. Have fun. Learn how to kill people. It's wonderful.
Learn to prove yourself first. And if you prove yourself worthy,
yes,
then we will consider taking you to the Fallen Sanctum.
Ah, the motto of a military person. It's really what it is. It's the motto of a military person.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. You know, no, even if, you know, you've been in 15 years,
yeah,
you know, and you change from one unit to another, and you go in there and, yeah, you got your chest full of medals and all this other stuff. It means a little bit, but not much.
Sure does.
You still have to prove to us that you can fit in with us.
Yeah.
You have to prove yourself to us before we'll listen to you. You know, if you're our squad leader or whatever, we'll listen to you. We'll do what you tell us to do. But it doesn't mean we're going to trust you.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing.
Trust.
Once you prove yourself, then we'll trust you, and we can go
we'll
from
do
there.
what we need to do. Meanwhile, back on the ship, Jod is still quizzing SM-33 about his knowledge of Ad-Adin as they leave the Onyx Cinder. And SM-33 says, well, I remember fighting warriors here. And then they're surrounded by Hatton warriors. They, too, ask them, what flag do they fly? And Jod's like, you know, I'm going to shoot you. He's ready to pull the trigger and do what he needs to do. But back at the other base, Fern and the rest of the kids are shooting at some cans with a blaster.
I had to laugh at Jod, though. They're sitting there, what flag do you fly? And he's looking at it, he's got his hands up, and he's looking at all of them around him. He just drops down to his knees and says, Just shoot me.
Just shoot me. Come on. Just shoot me. Just get it over with and be done with it.
Just shoot me. I'm done. Just shoot me. I don't care anymore.
Shoot me. Well, while the others are practicing shooting at cans, Neil isn't. Neil is being very reserved.
He's not a weapons kind of guy.
While Wim and KB are, off having fun, Hannah comes over to Neil and says, your friends are hopeless. And Neil flat out says, yeah, I know. Puts the gun down. And I thought this was a great scene, first of all. Because Hannah is like, why aren't you training with them? Like, what part of this is a dangerous journey don't you understand? And Neil's like, I get it. It's not kosher. It's not keen. It's not ideal. But that's not the type of person that Neil is.
Yeah.
He's not a fighter. He's not a warrior. He's just a kid.
In any way, shape, or form.
Right. He's just a kid. And yes, he does get scared. He does.
Mm-hmm. Like any kid would.
But at the same time, Hannah also says to him, you're very wise. Let me show you some more powerful weapons.
Let me show you something bigger.
Yeah, let me show you something. And the two of them take a turbo lift to the top of the school. And at the top of the school, there's a lot of, there's like a tented village up there. And they get some rations and they're eating. And Hannah is explaining that the Hattons stole their herd of Yopis. They depend on those to survive, which means they get food from them. They get what they need, right? Old school, classic Wild West, hey, they stole my cattle, that type of thing. Which again, probably one of the small little details that you, JT, were talking about earlier of how well they're mixing things and making it exactly what Star Wars has been for a very long time. Star Wars is your old school action adventure science fiction movie / show that has elements from samurai films to the Old West, old black and white serials from the theater, Lone Ranger, that type of thing. And they're bringing it back to the way it is, which is why people love it right now.
Even the old John Wayne war movies.
Oh, come on. We're going to saddle up a pony and take them out. That's what we're going to do. Gonna have some whiskey and we're gonna ride these horses into the sunset. That's right. But that's
sorry,
the thing.
Folks. I shouldn't have mentioned John Wayne.
But that's what it feels like. And those were entertaining movies.
Yes, they were.
Those were entertaining movies. The Magnificent Seven. Like,
as the song goes, those were the days.
There you go. Well,
little Archie Bunker for you there.
While Hannah and Neil are bonding, really, they really are. They're bonding. Hannah says that, we're planning on doing a raid to reclaim the Opis. And, oh, by the way, we're going to burn the Hattons' granary to hopefully gain some ground on them.
Yep.
So clearly, this is a huge civil war that they've got going on. Okay? Hannah walks away. Neil takes his ration and gives it to two kids that are younger than him. And they're like, whoa, I just got a gift.
Cool food.
Food. And that's when Hannah goes, oh, I still got something to show you. So she uses a hook pole to unlock like a crank. And that's when you see this big turbo laser reveal itself.
That was pretty freaking cool.
That was cool.
I mean, that'd be the last thing that you would think would come out of the roof of a school.
Yeah. Well,
you know,
she says, this is from the old days. We use it for protection. We use it when we need it.
Yep.
Neil thinks what they're doing is completely pointless. It's endless. All you're doing is fighting each other for no reason.
Right.
Why can't you come together? Why can't you sit down and work things out? Do you know why you're fighting? Do they know why they're fighting? So we've seen a few different sides of Neil right now. We've seen the scaredy cat, which that happens. He's a kid. We've seen the playful kid. But
now we're seeing the very thoughtful side of him.
An intelligent side.
Yeah. Yeah. Very thoughtful, very intelligent, very open-minded, you know, about how things could be. You know, I mean, he goes as far as to say, you know, can't you just apologize and say you're sorry and, you know, start over?
And that's when he says, you know, I'm going to be an analyst like my mom. That's so you can see he's analyzing everything that's going on right now.
Yep.
He's got a great career in politics, let me tell you.
Even more than KB does.
Yes.
I mean, KB, when she analyzes things, it's in a technical sense.
Well, she's computing everything.
Yeah. And as when he analyzes it, you know, it's in a human,
yep,
you know, soft, mushy flesh body person, you know.
Yeah, it makes it all squishy.
Squishy.
But that's when Hannah says, well, do you have any conflict on your homeworld? And he's like, no. The worst thing ever is a game called Slapball. And I play it and I'm pretty good. I can teach you. He was very open to teaching her, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, let's be a kid. Slapball.
And her reaction, though, is perfect for what she's been through as a kid.
Absolutely.
You know, well, you must be from a weak clan.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're going to be from a weak clan if you don't know what fighting is.
Yeah.
You know, especially not combat fighting.
Yeah, well, and that's when they're starting to bond even more because now they're comparing what they did as kids. She grew up in a war-torn world. Conflict every day. It's a normal thing for them.
Mm-hmm.
She also says that it's adding strength to them. And
I think the worst thing that's ever happened to him was he sprained his trunk.
Yeah. but even Neil's like, when is this going to end? It's an endless cycle. You guys just keep going around in circles.
Yeah.
What? And like you said earlier, apologize.
Yeah. That's how he de-escalates things.
De-escalate it by apologizing. Who cares who started it? Finish it.
Let's finish it.
Yeah. Finish it. And that's when he starts getting into the time he was fighting with his brother. His little brother stole his protractor.
How dare he?
I know. He was stealing a math tool.
Come on. What's wrong with you?
But that's when, obviously he was chasing him around the house.
Like somebody taking your sextant.
And they sprained his trunk, like you mentioned before. And even Hannah's like, that's a funny story. But she also said the cool thing. She's never met anyone like him.
One of the coolest lines in the episode.
Which means right now, the wheels are spinning in her head going, maybe this kid's right. Maybe somebody should apologize. He
is making her, just through his general conversation and talking to her.
Yep.
He is making her look at things in a way that she has never looked at it before.
Yeah.
Up to this point, it's always been, we have to fight for everything we have. We have to fight for our food. We have to fight for our shelter. We have to fight to protect our friends.
Absolutely.
We have to fight to protect our food.
Yeah. You got,
and that's all she's known.
Yeah.
But he's opening another door to her of, hey, maybe it doesn't have to be that way.
Yep.
But that's a hard door to open for somebody who's like that, who's come up that way.
But it's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because maybe she might take that leap, that first step. Hey, Dad, maybe we should apologize. Maybe we should figure something out.
Yeah.
Instead of killing each other, let's work together,
But now it's time to come back to reality.
Yes, as a matter of fact, the kids are having fun with targets. Wim compliments KB on taking out several of them, which, obviously she's using her cybernetic implants to help Yelp. Yelp, which does not sponsor this show. It'd be cool if they did.
I don't know if we'd want them to.
No, not lately. No. But money's money, right?
Right.
So they're down at the battleground. They're taking, shots at the cans. KB's doing great. Neil and Hannah return, and Wim shows them this big blaster. Now, despite what the kids are thinking, he's like, I got this. I'll
be okay. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
And then he freaking turns it all the way up.
Turns it up and recoil, and he goes flying. Of course, everybody laughs. They check up on him, make sure he's okay. General Strix is like, hey, I'm impressed, man. I'm impressed. You keep that fighting spirit up. We're going to have some fun. Captain Fern, however, I'm going to give you and your crew the honor of leading us into battle. Neil.
Honor.
Yeah, the honor. Neil is like freaking out. Like, what? Fern says, what if I refuse? What if I refuse the honor?
Actually, she says, well, we appreciate the honor, but no thank you.
Yeah, no thanks.
And goes to hand him the gun that she's holding.
Yeah. But basically they're outnumbered and they're surrounded, and they're like, okay, well, you're going to lead us into combat no matter what. Right. So,
and I have a perfect real life example of what just happened.
Please.
Gulf War.
Yes.
My brigade in Germany, in Aschaffenburg, Germany, we were sent over.
Mm-hmm.
And we had the honor of spearheading for 1st Armor. For 1st Armor Division. It's always the ones that somebody feels, well, not always, but a lot of times, it's always the ones that somebody feels are expendable.
Right.
And can prevent the loss of your own troopers that get that honor of leading out. So that is a real life situation right there that they just went through.
It's fun.
And of course, we knew we couldn't go, no thanks. We just said, oh gee, thanks. Yeah, we'll spearhead for you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We'll do it, and everything will be fine.
We'll show you how it's supposed to be done.
Yeah, pretty much.
Is what we said.
You're going to do it anyway. Might as well. But at that point, obviously Wim is like, hey, we're going to win this. Very optimistic, Wim. He's very optimistic. I don't think he understands what's really happening, but he's very optimistic.
I think he's putting on a brave face.
Think so?
I think so.
Okay. Well, while they're doing that, obviously they're being held at gunpoint and being scouted ahead. Like, go ahead. You're good. Neil is afraid as all hell. And Hannah's like, you know what? I'm going to go with them. That way, they've got some protection just in case.
Well, it was interesting how she said it.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, sometimes when you're afraid, being with a friend makes it easier.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
Neil kind of agrees with that. And, he's like, okay. He starts to be brave.
Yes.
And they, and of course her dad's like, no. She's like, screw you, Dad. I'm going.
I'm going anyway, whether you like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Because why not? Just why not? She's already a high-ranking warrior to them, so don't mess with me, Dad.
Right.
Of course, KB is like, maybe we could, desert them and leave and be good. And that's when one of the other soldiers is like, you want to die? Because that's basically what it is. You want to die? Because that's what's going to happen. And of course, there's a little bit of a shootout going on, and they take cover. They're looking ahead, making sure things are happening. Even Hannah's like, all right, chill, relax, we're good. We're good. Neil starts to monologue. I love that that's a term now, monologue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're gonna monologue
talking to himself.
Yeah.
But it helps him. It's helping him to put on a brave face.
Yes.
And do what he has to do.
But that's when they start hearing a cawing ahead. They hear like a caw type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when John emerges from the fog, holding a staff in his hand. Neil is like, oh, thank God. Fern is like, whoa, hold it. Why are you here? Because you were supposed to be on the ship still. SM-33 approaches, and John reveals that they recovered their herd of Ewoks from the Hattons before cawing. The herd rushes back. Strick thanks John and says, what reward would you like? And John said, I want the 4 young ones. Those are my kids. I want them.
Yeah.
Neil hugs John out of nowhere, and the others run over, thank him. And that's when Strix is surprised that John would prefer the children over his best hides. But what they don't understand is John is really a pirate, Crimson Jack. He doesn't care about that stuff. All he cares about is money. Money.
I did it to save your lives.
Right?
Lying sack of shit.
Lies, I tell you, lies. Well, no, in a lot of ways, yeah, he did what he needed to do. And that's when Hannah says to her father, hey, listen, they proved their bravery.
Yep.
Least you can do is offer them info to the Fallen Sanctum. And he's like, whoa, 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 whoa. And he reluctantly agrees. Mm-hmm. You could tell. And even Hannah's like, I will bring them. They proved it. They deserve it. They get their reward. Let's go. And that's when Jod starts telling them about his encounter with the Hattons. They're the ones that told him that the younglings had joined the sworn enemy. And Jod was like, well, yeah, no. I can buy back your herd and use the money that he found in Wim's bag. Because why not? They're old Republic credits. They're worth a lot of money.
The data trees.
Yes. Yes.
Or dataries, sorry.
Yes. Hannah says, well, this is the way to the Fallen Sanctum. And Neil says, well, that actually looks like the supervisor tower on our planet. And we hear SM-33 again.
Don't recall nothing about no Atten.
Yep. Actually, I think that's like 3 now, right? Third time.
Yeah, just from him.
And that's when Hannah says that this is as far as I go. I now have to go back. Your future is that way. And Neil's like, why don't you come with us? Why not? Get off of this war-torn planet and come with us. And that's when she says, I'm sorry, but no, my place is here.
This was a very neat moment in this episode.
This encounter was fantastic. It really was, because you had these two strangers who became friends, and as she's saying, hey, this is where my journey with you ends, I will also remember your ways, because when I become leader of the clan, things are going to change.
Her world could use a little kindness.
Yes. And she even said that she learned the kindness from Neil, and she's going to use that.
Try to, at least.
And Jod interrupts and says, come on, Neil, we got to go. And that's when Hannah, Hannah kisses Neil on the cheek. Like I'm never going to forget you type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. The old, kiss on the forehead kind of thing.
Yeah. Excuse me. Well, now that they're in the Fallen Sanctum, oh boy, it looks like it got beat up. Beat up big time, because KB now has to rewire a turbo lift just so they can get to the top and see what happens. They get all the way up to Dusty Chamber with blown out windows, so things are completely destroyed. Vines are everywhere. Jod even says, here's another ruin.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's all the whole freaking planet is.
Right. And Neil says to the group, look out for maps. And that's when SM-33 mentions he doesn't remember Aden. So we're hearing this all the time.
I think it was Fern finally goes, we know.
Yeah.
Would you stop saying that?
We get it, dude. We get it. Wim finds some carvings on the wall Jod recognizes one of the letters reading at A2. Am I saying that right? At A2?
I would guess.
And that's when he starts to put things together that these are coordinates. And that's where he also sees at Akron. Kim had given them the coordinates, so they have those. So now they have the coordinates for at A2. Then Wim finds one called at Aricia. And Fern sees at excuse me.
Aravin.
At Aravin. And that's when Neil finds the letters for at Adin. But the entire pillar, including the coordinates, are completely destroyed. They had been blasted away.
Blaster mark right across it.
Right across it. That's when Neil said, who would do such a thing? And SM33 says, he did it.
I did it.
KB is like, whoa, what do you mean? Fern asked for the coordinates. Get them out of him. He's got it in his memory bank.
Well, she asked why he destroyed the coordinates.
Yes. And that's when he explains that he was in the Fallen Sanctum years earlier with his previous captain, who we know is already dead because we saw his body on the ship, along with many others. Or is he? Ha. Could he be the supervisor? Maybe.
That was the first thought that came in my head.
It's a good theory, right? Really good theory.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, we don't know anything about the supervisor.
No, we know nothing. We've never seen the supervisor, not a thing. Okay.
No.
So, when he says that he did it with his old captain, Wim is like, okay, well, let's get them. What do we do? That's when he mentions that he can't remember at Adin again.
That's when Fern went off.
Fern went, wait a minute. Something's not right. KB, using her smarts again, we can repair the droid.
Yeah. There's only like a million different points.
Yeah. Jod is like, yeah, okay, whatever, and walks away. Wim sees Fern over by the window and she's starting to cry. Because now it's starting to get to Fern. You can see the difference and the change from I'm not scared to I really am scared shitless. I'm never going to get home again.
Well, she's overwhelmed.
Big time. But she is the one who claimed she was the captain. So, kind of goes with the territory.
Yep.
And that's when the two of them have a bonding experience of, listen, we almost didn't make this, but because of you, you got us out of battle. You got us out alive. No thanks to Wim for getting them into that mess, but still got them out alive. And that's when Fern says, you'll figure, Wim says to Fern, you'll figure something out. You always do. That's when she admits that she's having issues.
I like what she says, though.
Mm-hmm.
I like how she says this. She's like, I can't do everything just like a droid. Yep. Or I don't do whatever I'm told like a droid.
Yep. And that's when something just clicks.
Light bulb.
Light bulb. Light bulb. Poof. Yay. So now,
are a good thing.
Now she's examining SM33's empty eye socket, And when Fern says to him where at Adden is, he keeps repeating, I can't remember. No at Adden. So Fern's like, I do this to my droids at home.
He did it in episode 1.
Yep. She did it in episode 1. Override. Memory override.
Mm-hmm.
So she goes, I'm going to do this. As captain, I am your captain. Initiate memory override. Retrieve information about at Adden that is stored in your memory banks. And that is when he now remembers at Adden and that the previous captain, well,
he was a real jerk.
he wasn't very nice, to say the least.
I mean, just the list of what he did.
Yes.
And told SM33.
Yes.
At this point when they were there last time, it is, does not paint a good picture of his previous captain in any way, shape, or form.
Not at all. Because he flat out said the captain told him to kill any of the crew who saw the coordinates to at Adden. And then told him to dispose of the remains. And to forget anything he knew about at Adden. And Fern said, can you take us there? And he also recalls the orders of the captain to kill anyone looking for the treasure on at Adden. And basically he was told to tell anybody seeking that to rip them apart.
Limb from limb.
Yep. John asks Wim to pass the blaster. He fires it, but it kind of goes bzzzt. So, as KB and Fern try to assert their authority as being captain, the droid is freaking out. He's ready to kill. And Neil throws a rock at him, telling him to leave them alone.
Right up his head.
So he goes after Neil. But before he can harm him, Jod jumps and deactivates the droid by hitting his off switch. And that is when SM33 falls down on top of Neil, but not squishing him. And Neil passes out.
That was funny as hell.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I really was, Barry. Thanks, guys.
I'm going And that was the end of the episode. So we learned a lot. The previous captain of the Onyx Cinder. Woo! Deadly.
Was not a very good man.
No, he was not a very good man at all.
And this is an even-numbered episode, so I would go first.
By all means.
Loved this episode.
This was a great episode.
Learned a lot about Fern. Learned a lot about KB. Well, not too much about KB.
Mm-hmm.
Learned a lot about Wim and Neil. Yes. And, we learned that, what we suspected, that Jod is a person who can quickly adapt to whatever his circumstances may happen to be.
Yes.
Definitely an adventure that the kids went on, with the Troiks and leading the patrol and, all that stuff. No pacing problems with, and that's one thing that I've enjoyed about this. There's been no pacing problems with this series from the beginning.
Oh yeah, none whatsoever.
Which is hard to find.
Yeah.
Even in modern day today, it's hard to find that consistency. The personal moment for Neil was really, really cool. he kind of came out as a main character
Yes.
during this episode and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Really neat interactions with the daughter and the whole 9 yards there. I'm at a 4.25 on this episode.
Ooh.
I really enjoyed it.
Nice. I've been noticing a trend where we're sticking above 4, which is excellent because I myself am at a 4.3.
Ooh.
Yeah, 4.3.
Just had to top me, didn't you?
Just a little bit, but I had already known I was going to be choosing the 4.3. And I think part of that is I want to see one more thing that I wish I could have in this episode was a flashback of SM-33 destroying the coordinates.
Yeah.
You know?
That would have been cool.
That would have been cool. Like just a quick here's how it's working. This is what he did. And then showing them and
it's like he tells the story of what he did.
Yeah. Very quick. You didn't even have to like maybe not even like a flashback, more like a holographic projection.
There you go.
He's a droid.
Here, I'll show you what I did.
Yeah, he could have showed a holographic projection of what the captain told him to do, especially if he remembered everything. So I think it would have been more if they showed that, but at the same time, I also understand why they didn't do that because it worked. Everything in this episode worked.
And SM-33 is far enough ahead, far enough to the front.
Yep.
As it is. They don't need to. If they would have done that, I think it would have put him too far out front. Agreed.
And you don't want that. He's a droid, so he's still going to be more of a side character than anything. And I like what they did. So I'm at a 4.3 hover bikes for that one. Really great episode.
By the way, our lowest rating has been me at a 4.
Oh, okay. All right. Nice. Well, we're going to fast forward and we're going to do this quickly. We're going to do episode 5 quickly because there's a lot going on, but it can be summed up very quickly because not a lot differs from the planet that we're currently on in episode 5. And this one is called You Have a Lot to Learn About Pirates. So this clearly they're now off of at Atchen and they're going to at Aden, or at least trying to find it. And the only way to do that is to get some information from SM-33, who says that the coordinates of the maps are hidden underneath a mountain. Skull Mountain, I believe it was called, right? If I remember.
You skipped the open.
Did I?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I did. I'm sorry.
Very important part.
Yes. Let me rewind. So, the beginning of the episode opens up with Wendell, Wim's dad, working at their desks. Okay. He's a little distracted, but, shares office space with people. And he then meets up with Neil's mother. They need to get information to the supervisor, or at least meet the supervisor or something, in order to find their kids. That's all they care about right now is their kids. And what happens? Sorry. I'm dying, folks. I'm dying. He meets her, Numa, like overlooking the outside. Like you can see at Aden, you can see all the buildings and everything. It's a very beautiful view, by the way.
Big picture window.
Yeah. You can also see that they're trying to get communication out past the barrier. And the only way to do that is to steal the barrier access code. So they're kind of like, I don't know if I can do this, but we have to do this because it's the only way to find our kids. I mean, something is going to have to, have to give. And when it comes down to it, most people, if they don't know how to do crime, you can pick them out in the crowd very easily.
Yeah. Just the way that he walked away.
Yeah.
He's very stiff, very, very unnatural.
Yes. Very unnatural. But Numa gives him a device to use in his terminals to help steal the codes. And while he's there, you can see the safety droids. The safety droids are all over the place. I'm a little weary of those safety droids. I'm at the point where I'm thinking to myself, Adin is more of a prison than anything.
Well, and that's the thing. And we it takes me back to our theory of maybe SM-33's old boss
could be the supervisor.
Is the supervisor. Because why would you have to have that much security?
Right.
I mean, I understand having security, but why would you have to have a security droid standing in the middle of the analyst floor? And there was more than one.
Oh, yeah.
They were all over the place. You see them walking all over the place out in the city and everything else. So why do you have to have that much security? So there's the theory of, SM-33's boss possibly being, and then the amount of security and the restrictions of, no communications outside of the barrier. You can't go near the barrier, all this other stuff. Mm-hmm. I agree. It's almost like a euphoric police state.
Right.
I mean, you think about it. You get assigned your job.
Yeah.
Nobody helps anybody else. That's what the safety droids are for, quote unquote. Mm-hmm. Yes. And all those things. So it's weird. It's definitely, Adin is not the really nice, cool place that we started out thinking it was in episode 1.
Correct.
It has definitely taken a mysterious turn as the show has gone on. Yes.
And there's going to be more secrets revealed, obviously. So Wendell tries to steal the codes, and the safety droid gets alerted that there was a rise in energy from his terminal and starts to question him. Searches him, finds the drive that Numa gave him, and the safety droid brings him to Farah, who is Fern's mother. And Fern, excuse me, pardon me, sorry about that. Farah says, I thought we decided you're going to wait. What's wrong with you? But we got to get this stuff out now. We got to find the kids. And
I love what she did with the safety droid, though.
Oh, this was cool. Good. Tell them what they did.
She looks at the safety droid and tells him that he is to forget or delete all records of the incident and to power himself down.
Yep.
Right there in front of her desk.
Yep, and he does.
And you see him go.
And the thing is, Farah even says to Wendell, listen, we got to go through the process. The supervisor's going to help the kids, And Wendell's like, you know what? I don't agree. I don't think that's going to happen at all. We need to do it.
She's waiting on a reply from the supervisor about it now.
Yes. And
he's like, he's not going to help.
No, he's not going to help at all.
If he's going to help, he would have done it by now.
Right. So now we fast forward to the Onyx Cinder. They're currently traveling, and they have SM-33 tied down, and KB is rerouting his memory chip so that it doesn't overload his core processor. And the reason that they're doing that is they don't want him to attack them, as well as still keep the memories and get them to where they need to go. And Neil is like, whoa, hold it. He's just going to kill us. And that's when Jod's like, all right, kids, everything will be all right. I'll just turn them on, and even Fern is questioning Jod's motives at the moment.
You turn them on. No, you turn them on.
No, you turn them on. And even Fern's like, first of all you want is the treasure. That's all you care about is the treasure. And Jod counters that, if that's all he wanted, the deal was to get you home. That's the deal. So Fern says Jod is scared. And he says, well, I can sense that you're scared. So now he's using the Jedi powers to go, oh, okay. So, So KB turns on SM-33, and while that happens, he's very like, whoa, a little high strung, but he also says that he promises no harm will come to you because those were Captain Tack Renard's orders. Renaud, yeah, Renaud.
Renod.
Yes, Tack Renaud, who we don't know what he looks like, but he is a former pirate captain, and that sparked a memory for Jod, because that's when he goes, wait a minute, this is Renaud's ship?
This is the Onyx Cinder.
This is the Onyx Cinder? Makes sense.
Makes sense. We don't learn a lot about Tack Renaud.
No.
In this episode. And so I figured, you know what? I'm going to go look him up, see what I can find out about Tack Renaud. There's not, even in the Star Wars database, there's not any information about him other than an infamous pirate. Tack Renaud was captain of the Onyx Cinder before it crashed on Aden. That's it.
Which means he is a character that has been brought in. He's dead, obviously, right here in Skeleton Crew. But that opens up so many more doors for things to happen. So while Jod is, going through his memory going, wow, we're on the Onyx Cinder. This guy is one of the most feared pirates in the galaxy. He's taken out star systems.
And the kids are just looking at him like,
yeah. Well, and the kids
never heard of him.
blank looks. But SM-33 says, well, Fern says, listen, I don't care about him. I want to know what's in SM-33's brain because we want to get home. I'm the captain. You had to have scanned everything that he had. Where is it? And that's when he goes, it's underneath Skull Ridge Mountain. What? Skull Ridge Mountain. All right, well, take us there. That's what Fern says. Take us there. Snaps the ropes, goes to the cockpit, puts them into hyperspace. And while traveling, SM-33 is explaining that, by the way, Captain Renaud suspected some of his crew were going to mutiny against him. So the first mate got all greedy, challenged the captain, and mind you, all the kids are sitting around going, ooh, story time. We're hearing stories. And what happened was Renaud was betrayed by his concubine, who stabbed him with his own dagger. The dying captain locked out the ship's controls, and the mutineers died. Ship crashing on Aden. Jod is like, well, okay, that's funny. And that's when Neil said, well, what's a concubine? What's this? And Jod's like, all right,
That's enough story time.
Yeah, you guys have heard enough stories by now. So, interesting play that Jod knows Captain Renaud.
Right.
Very interesting indeed. Okay. So Neil is like, well, wait a minute. What about the secret lair? We want to know more about that. And that's when he's like, well, I miss my home. Let's go there. And that's when he explains that it's under a mountain with bubbling pits of mud that and that's where they used to hide the corpses of all the captain's foes. So clearly this was probably more than just a secret base in a lot of ways. Wim, however,
graveyard.
Yeah. Wim, however, leaves the bridge and Jod goes walking to find him, and we see Wim crying. He's crying while reading a story pad. And Jod goes, well, whoa, what's wrong, buddy? What's wrong there, little fella? Are you all right? And that's when Wim first says nothing. And then he admits that all he ever wanted to do was go on a real adventure. And Jod goes, well, you know what? You can't get more of an adventure like this.
Right.
We're going to Captain Renaud.
We're going to the worst,
Yeah.
most notorious pirates' lair. How much more of an adventure can you get?
Yeah. And that's when he says, Wim's like, well, okay, but this adventure is a lot scarier than I thought it would be.
Oh.
And that's when he also says that he misses his mom and dad.
Of course, Jod's first reaction is like anybody in it. Oh, buck up, Buttercup.
Yeah, buck up.
You'll be fine.
Come on, you'll be good to go. You'll be great.
Buttercup.
But that's when Wim also admits that he wouldn't see his mom because we know his mom's no longer alive. But Jod also says to him, you got to get rid of attachments. That's the best way to overcome fear. Get rid of attachments. It'll hide your anxieties. Forget your parents. Anything that you hold dear, you need to push them aside. Because otherwise, you're going to get eaten alive. And
yeah, he also says, you've got a powerful imagination.
Yes.
You're able to see grand adventures in a rotten galaxy.
Yep.
Rotten galaxy. He uses those words specifically.
Oh, yeah. And it is. Yeah. Think about it. We went from the Old Republic to the fall of the Old Republic and the rise of the Galactic Empire, the fall of the Galactic Empire, and the rise of the New Republic.
Well,
there are scoundrels, there's bounty hunters, there's crime lords. The Hutts alone. The Hutts alone. Woo. Talk about mafia.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want that.
Yeah. I like what he said next, though, because he's like, your focus determines your reality. And that is a very, very deep statement to come from a person like him.
Oh, yeah. Hands down.
Your focus determines your reality. And the crazy thing about it is he's right. He's more than right, because if that's all you focus on,
yep,
is how bad it is and how much you miss mom and dad and all that kind of thing, your path is gonna be crappy.
Yeah.
But if you kind of try to make the best of a situation, whatever situation it is you're in, until you get back to that reality that you want to,
Right.
it's not going to be as bad. It may be that grand adventure that you're looking for, kind of thing. So
Right.
very, very deep thoughts from a person that you wouldn't think would have those kind of deep thoughts.
Agreed.
You know?
Now, the other thing is, when he lifts the story pad up with the Force, Wim even says to him, how are you doing that if you're not a Jedi? And all Jod does is wink. Just winks at him and walks away.
Yep. And I flash back to when they were escaping the jail. The Force moves through everyone.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So they finally arrive to Lanupa.
Lanupa.
Very nice blue planet. Clean.
It's pretty.
It's very pretty. And, well, they fly down through the snow-capped mountains, and SM-33 is like, the lair has something that very few dare approach. And that's when they start seeing pleasure yachts flying by. Not only pleasure yachts, but now there's two starfighters right next to them going, welcome to Lanupa. And they start going through how this planet is a peaceful planet as long as they keep the peace.
Yep. Neutral planet.
Neutral planet. Which means it's a vacation spa.
No bad boys, no trouble.
Right. Right.
And
Or
to quote them, violators will be shot down.
Absolutely, they will.
No ifs, ands, or buts. No, well, you get your day in court.
Yep, we're just gonna shoot you out of the sky.
You'll have a chance to speak your case, or you're just gonna get shot out of the freaking sky.
Yeah. Now, meanwhile, SM-33 is saying, well, it goes by many names: Demon's Rest and Battle World, and one of the pilots says, do you have a reservation?
Sure we do.
Yeah. But they also hear the kids in the background, and they go, just so you know, Skull Ridge Mountain Hotel and Spa is an adult entertainment destination. Kids are not really welcome. Your kids will have to stay aboard the ship. Well, that was interesting to say the least, because they're like, well, okay, how am I going to get out of this one? And that's when they start going, I need all the Republic credits you can muster. Get them all to me. We're going to need them. Anything you have, lunch money, you name it. Pull it out of your socks, your boots, your bags, your coats, whatever. Give it all to me. We're going to need it. We're going to need it. And as the ship is landing, and this was one of my favorite parts, the hotel director is kind of like just looking on going, oh my God, do you see the ship that's about to land? Holy crap. This is not...
You have a reaction when people saw the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah. Oh, no. At least the Millennium Falcon would have went, oh, okay. It's a little dirty. Might need to be cleaned.
Cool ship, but it's a piece of junk.
Right. This was worse. This was worse. So John's like, okay, kids, you got to stay on the ship. Simple as that, but give me all your credits. Let's go. And the kids are like, no, we're coming with you. We're coming with you, whether you like it or not. And as they exit and get to the landing pad, he introduces the children as the wise elders of the Bratrick system. And he's like, hello, where are you? and they come down on one of the cylinders from the ship, and they're all there. And man, perfect disguise for them. And the fact that they made up their own language of just worked out great. I am their what it was
he said their translator.
The translator, right. I'm their translator, and SM-33 is, well, he's our droid, so yeah. And meanwhile he's like, this is not the Skull Ridge Mountain that I had. They ruined it. He was so pissed. It was great. You ever see a droid angry before? Now you have.
Right.
So they put a restraining bolt on SM-33 because they don't want any violence. So any violent thoughts or actions shocks him. The public there fears droids, so they don't want any droids screwing anything up. While Jod's not, they search him and they go, oh, well, you can't have that knife. Sorry.
No weapons allowed.
No weapons. There's no weapons allowed here. As soon as they turn around and they put the restraining bolt on, he uses the force to take the knife back, puts it on him, and they go about their business. And while the director is giving them a tour of the facilities, they show the gymnasium, restaurants, all this other good stuff. Jod learns that the director is walking by a lot of security guards, and he's like, whoa, what's the issue here? What's with all the security? Well, apparently, as we have Comic-Cons here in the United States and across the globe, Star Wars has the Intergalactic Banking Clan Exposition, where basically everybody who makes money is there. If you wanted to assassinate a high-ranking member of society, that's where to do it.
That's where you would do it.
That's where you would do it. So,
and of course, the security guards or the beefed up security is on the lookout for spies and imposters.
Yeah. Which, oh boy. But
an element of mystery and danger.
But that's when he takes, that Old Republic credit and slides it over and goes, they're the wise elders. And, oh, by the way, here's another one. I am Professor Umium Gorlax, sorry. And that's when all of a sudden he goes,
it went downhill.
Yeah, things went for the worst. Because as they're bribing to get a room and looking for the finest suites, a bounty hunter shows up named Pocket. Now, Pocket is a very interesting fellow because she is a high-ranking bounty hunter in the Bounty Hunters Guild, which means she's going to do whatever it takes to mess you up. Including, but not limited to, releasing a name called Dash Zenton, which is also Jod Nanawid. So we now have Silvo. We now have Jod Nanawid. We have Crimson Jack. And now we also have Dash Zenton. 4 names that he goes by, and they having a nice little chit chat and how there's no hard feelings between the two of them. Everything is good to go. And she goes, there is a bounty on your head. Just saying. It's for a private client. Things could get bad. But don't worry, no hard feelings. I'm not going to do anything bad.
Well, it's because his last encounter with Pocket,
yep,
he was nice enough to steal her bounty and leave her in a pool of leeches.
Yes. Yes.
Not a nice way to leave people.
But she did also tell the kids, don't trust him.
Mm-hmm.
So there's two people who have already said,
there's two.
don't trust him.
One more and we're out of here, you know?
Because she then also says he is a slimo, which is basically a slime ball.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's basically what it is. And the hotel director is like, so, Professor. And he just throws more credits down. Here you go. We have no luggage. We're in a hurry. We need the best room that you got and be done with it. Okay. No problem. No problem. They go up. They got their room. The kids are having a ball. John's like, I'm going to fucking blow a gasket. Because he's like, okay, we got shit to do, and we got very little time to do it because all hell is going to break loose very, very quickly.
Very bad people are probably on their way here now to kill us.
The most deadliest pirates are going to kill us.
Right?
So SM-33 is like, well, this place is, ugh. It's just ugh. I can't believe they did this. But he says that it would be underneath the spa, which for them would be the mud pits. And as they're going about, okay, listen, we need to go this way and this way. We need to find the lair. We need to find these markings, so on and so forth. Everybody at first was like, let's all go together. And John's like, no, we need to split up. Because if we split up, then we can get things done quicker. SM-33 and I will go. And the kids are like, hell no. We're going with you.
Well, even SM-30, I go where the captain goes.
Yep, I go where the captain goes. Which makes perfect sense. I go where the captain goes. You know? So,
Yep.
So they go down and they need to do what they need to do and try to find these things. And Pocket did exactly what she said she was going to do and told Captain Brutus where he is on Lanupa. And he also says that he promises to pay her if he is captured and dispatches 2 ships. And Pocket's like,
yeah, to keep it quiet.
I'll keep it quiet. Because, you know, she's going to get paid more. It's real simple. So now the skeleton crew are looking for the entrance. And I thought this was great humor because we see a hut bathing in a mud pool. And one of the spa attendants brings over some fruit for the hut. But instead of eating the fruit, the hut grabs the attendant. And you basically just hear him saying, please don't swallow me again. Not again.
If he swallowed me, I wouldn't go anywhere near him again.
Oh, like, no, send somebody else, send a droid or something. Because let's face it, the Hutts are gangsters. They don't care. And if the person is smaller than them, they're going to eat them. We've seen it. We've seen it happen. Phantom Menace, Return of the Jedi. It's all there. Watch them. Hell, Clone Wars too. Okay? So they're now going and SM-33 tells a wonderful truth about the mud pits. And he said that they were formerly used by Captain Renaud to dissolve the bodies in acid. And when Wim questioned it, he says, SM-33 admits that the mud comes from the mountain, but the acid they mixed in. So Fern's like, all right, well, if that's the case, why don't we follow these pipes? Those will go underneath the mountain. We can find it. And we can go from there. And that's when security guards start questioning Jod, addressing him as Professor Gorlox of Scipio. Scipio. And Jod goes, run! Run away!
Yeah.
Run away! They ditch the disguises as they're running. They're going down, following the pipes. And man, let me tell you, if this group, they really would have no luck at all. You know, if you think about it.
If they had good luck, or if they wasn't for bad luck, they'd have no luck at all.
Pretty much. Because it's just one thing after another. And you're like, when are things going to work out? When is it going to work out? You know, hey, I need more towels over here, as an alien patron says. They think so they just do what they need to do, And while that's, happening, KB and Neil are like, we're not wise elders, so they give themselves away no matter what. And that's when they're, all right, gonna walk the plank.
You're under arrest too.
You're done. Move on. Let's go. And KB decides to wave a wrench in the air. And they laugh at her. What are you going to do with that? And she takes the wrench, puts it on a bolt or a nut, and turns. And mud just goes flying and knocks them into a mud pool. SM33 says, hey, just so you know, Fern needs help below. Because we hear Neil and Wim talking on walkie-talkie going, help!
We could use some help down here. Well, this is after this giant freaking tentacle comes out and slams itself right in front of Fern.
Yes. Which, if I remember correctly, that is, I'm going to butcher this. It's a chollop.
I would say chollop, yeah.
Chollops.
Yeah.
Big guy.
Let's see here.
Very big guy. But the cool thing is, because Fern and Neil were talking with this guy, they were telling him the great story of at Atrin and their adventures there and what they were doing. And man, they were having a great time. At first you thought, hey, this guy's going to kill them. No, this is fantastic.
Chollops, and for anybody wondering, is a large, monstrous, octopus-like alien.
Yes. Also known as it'll rip you apart in 2 seconds. If you piss it off.
It has an octopus-like face with protruding eyes and a somewhat unsettling appearance.
Yeah. Looks scary, but very nice.
Yeah, it enjoys listening to stories and can be helpful if you have a good tale to tell.
Yeah, absolutely. And in this case, what he did is he used one of his tentacles to break open a doorway so they could get down into Captain Renaud's maze.
Yeah. While
that's happening, the two ships that Brutus sent out exit hyperspace and are now in Lanupa's atmosphere, where fighters came down and started saying, welcome to Lanupa, and blasted out of the sky.
Blown out of the freaking sky.
Poof, gone. Just gone.
Welcome to Lanupa. We are a neutral planet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The hotel director is noticing the cleanup. Man, I'm sorry, peoples. She's supervising the cleanup of the Onyx Cinder, and because, there's crap everywhere. The ship was falling apart to begin with. And
right.
back in the grotto, the Chalup is lowering the children into the tunnel beneath them, and also says that he would like to hear the rest of Wim's story in the future. And Neil's like, thanks. So now they're going through the maze, and SM-33 goes, listen, this maze has a lot of tunnels, and there's a lot of booby traps. Be weary. Be on the lookout. Watch your step. Watch your step. And sure enough, Neil triggers a booby trap right away.
It's a neat little trap, though. Neck height for an adult. Nice little laser that comes out and goes.
Yep. Just.
Raiders of the Lost Ark, the saw blade.
Right.
Coming out of the wall.
No, not even the saw blade. Not Raiders. Last Crusade. The Last Crusade.
Oh, that one too.
Yeah, because it does that crisscross and he rolls under them. Absolutely. Yeah. Raiders, it was the arrows. Run!
Yeah, I mean, many movies that we could probably reference for this kind of a booby trap.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. So Neil lifts his foot off the pressure trigger and he goes, SM-33 says, I said, watch your step. And they move on. And this is where they start getting to the point where the pirates are now after them. They're chasing them. And Fern even says, listen, don't forget the deal. The deal is for you to get us home. That's the deal. So John's like, okay, well, I mean, if they're going to be behind us, I'll just go in the middle then. So you guys can watch. And we see skeletons being impaled on sharp spikes. So a guard kind of goes over and gets trapped in it, gets shot by the pirates. So he goes flying up in the air. And Pocket is with them. And now they're going through the maze too. So they're like, okay, well, wait a minute. Where are they? Let's keep going. Let's keep moving. The guards are down there because they're chasing the kids. But then they come up to a pool of acid. Wim takes a rock, throws it, and whoof, does it boil. Does it boil.
And actually, Fern has SM-33 stick a toe it because KB looked at it and goes, that's not water.
Nope. Not water at all. Nope.
So Fern has SM-33 stick a toe in it, and he's like, it would appear to be acid.
And that's when KB notices the saying up at the top that says, all who enter paradise must make the greatest sacrifice. Yep. And now they're going, well, okay, does that mean somebody's got to kill themselves? Like,
that's a logical explanation. That's a logical thought for them because for them, that's what that means. The ultimate sacrifice for them is somebody giving giving themselves up as a sacrifice. Totally understandable. But then Pod goes,
Jod,
I've got a lot to learn about pirates.
Yep. Because pirates don't really value life.
No, not at all.
They value gold and treasure.
Money.
And that's when Jod uses the force to levitate a credit and drop it into the pool of acid.
Do I have any? Do I have one?
Yep. Everybody was looking. And they waited. They waited. At first, I thought nothing was really going to happen. But I'm like, no, this guy knows what he's doing. So as soon as it falls in, you see like this gold light come up and the acid just shoots down the drain and you're done.
You see a couple of skeletons fall in there like, ew.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they were all dead anyway. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
So they go down the flight of stairs into the next room and they seal themselves into what would you say, the treasure room?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The treasure room.
Yeah.
Treasure trove, including jewels, artifacts, gold-plated throne, and it just so happened to be a lightsaber in there too.
Yeah.
Huh. Resting on a golden pedestal.
Very nice lightsaber too. Silver, gold accents to it. Very nice looking.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Anybody we know?
So now, golden lightsaber? Not that I'm aware of. I'd have to look. I'd have to look that up. Because I don't remember anybody having a golden lightsaber. Which means this could be years and years ago. So obviously they see, hey, look around. Don't touch any of the treasure. It could all be booby trapped. And there's some rotted food on a table. And Neil notices it and he goes, well, I'll get it. And he goes to step on a stool, and because of the weight, it triggers a trap. Everybody gets pulled to safety. And then pulls it, and we see a hologram. A hologram of SM-33 recognizing the captain's log. Takes his arm to the data log's SCOM link and grabs the map, and there it is at Aden and its system. And the kids are like, yay, we're going to go home. Yay, this is going to be great.
Interesting.
Excuse me. Until Jod.
So Jod shows his true character?
Well, we knew his true character. He's a pirate.
But now we'll see his true character.
Because realizing that they found the coordinates at Aden, Jod says, can you refill the chamber with acid? And that's when you hear the screams of the pirates, including Gunter, can be heard behind the door. That's right. Oh, they got a little cooked, melted, boiled. They dead. And then John asks SM-33 about whether or not the treasure on Aden is real. And he replies that the treasure is mentioned in the captain's log, plays the faded hologram, so you still don't see the captain.
Right.
And it is revealing that at Aten's treasure is the last Old Republic mint. So that clearly is where they're making the Republic credits, on that planet. They're still making Old Republic credits because that's their job. That's what they're told to do. Wim says, well, what's a mint? And that's when Fern goes, it's where they make money.
Yeah.
So Neil's like, the eternal treasure is that planet. Which is why JT and I are in agreement that the supervisor could potentially be Captain Renaud. So, realizing that they have the coordinates, he doesn't need the kids anymore, Jod invokes his right to challenge Fern to a duel for position of captain. SM-33, as the droid and the first mate, so to speak, says, I have to follow the pirate's code.
Yep.
Challenge has been accepted. Jod tells Fern that she can choose to yield and he will not hurt her. And he gives her a good number of chances for this.
Mm-hmm. Yep. He was nice, as you can be in that situation.
Mm-hmm. She grabs a golden scepter, which she attempts to swing at him, and he basically does whatever he needs to do and holds her at knife point. And he says to her, "You need to yield. You yield, I will not hurt you." Fern says, "You're a grown-up, and that it is unfair for you to fight kids."
She's not wrong.
No, she's not wrong. But as the others are watching, Wim grabs the lightsaber.
You're in the real world now, Fern.
Well, that's the thing. You're in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
You claimed yourself as captain.
As we talked about before.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Certainly did.
The real world is a fucked up place.
Oh, hands down. Now, John, I forget the exact words that he says to Wim about the lightsaber. I think he said it's not the... he wasn't holding it the right way or something like that.
Right.
And Wim ignites it upside down, almost cutting off his leg. Like that close. And obviously he drops it. Blue lightsaber falls to the ground, turns off, and all the kids are now underneath the table, except for Fern. Fern still hasn't yielded. And finally, she says, "I yield." So he is now Captain Jod. He frees SM-33 from the restraining bolt and tells the droid they need to find another way out. He says, "Take the children prisoner, throw them in the brig. Charge them with mutinous intent against their captain." Wim and Neil attempt to reason with SM-33, and the droid's like, "I'm sorry, I gotta do what the captain says. Nothing I can do about it." Wim, however...
Wim's smart.
Yeah, oh yeah, very. He knew what he was doing. Grabs the footstool, opens the trap door, and all the kids fall through it. And they're gone. Now,
And the only reason they knew about the footstool was because Neil had reached for a roast beef that looked fine when everything else around it was rotten.
Yep. Now,
And Jod actually grabbed him and pulled him off the footstool before the trap door opened.
yep. Now, Jod sees the lightsaber on the floor and uses the Force to pick it up and turns it on. And it cuts. That's the end of the episode. Now,
There's something interesting that I've noticed in here real quick.
Mm-hmm.
In these last couple of references to when Jod uses the Force.
yep.
In this review, it says that he appears to use the Force. It wasn't saying that before.
I guess.
So it makes me wonder,
I mean, to me, that's one of those things where, I mean, you're using the Force. It's not appears to be. You are using the Force. Not Boozy.
Want to say hi to Not Boozy?
What's up,
Says,
man?
wasn't this the Sully Show? It still is.
Still is, but we're doing
Tuesday
Star
nights,
Wars
It's
today.
the Sully Show.
We're doing 2 Ewoks in the park. Sully Show is usually Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. However, because of New Year's tomorrow, clearly we will not be live because we're going to be out partying. Also known as JT falling asleep before midnight. But
So next week, Tuesday, Not Boozy, come back and see us.
yes, we will be back next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll also be back next Monday for 2 Ewoks in the park as well. So right now, I'm dying still. We're about to give our rating for episode 5 of Skeleton Crew. So if you've seen it, what'd you think? We'd love to hear from you. If you haven't seen it, that's okay. I'm sure you came in at the past the spoiler point because we just finished the episode. And for me, this episode, We're going 4.5, baby. We're going 4.5 on the rating for this because the complete changeover from a pirate stronghold to what it was in this show was freaking hysterical. Absolutely hysterical. Oh, it's a spa. Going to the spa. It's an adult-only spa. And Boozy hasn't seen Star Wars. That's okay. That's absolutely okay. We don't hold it against you. JT is now a huge fan of Star Wars, more so than ever before. Isn't that right, JT?
I've always been a fan of Star Wars, but this is, I've never been this involved into it.
That's true. But I will reiterate that every single episode gives you that Goonies feel to it.
Yes.
And I'm never going to back that off because it's well paced. I don't feel bored while watching it. It's a great story. And how can you go wrong with frickin' pirates? How can you go wrong with pirates and booby traps and people dying of acid that are off screen?
Having their heads cut off by lasers.
Or a hut trying to eat an attendant at a hotel.
True.
So 4.5 for me. What about you?
I'm right there with you. I'm at a 4.5. Great episode. One of the things I liked about this one was they had the twists.
Yes.
A lot of twists in this episode when we haven't had so many prior to this. I mean, really the biggest one before now was the ship taking off in episode 2.
Yes.
I love the changing characters that we've seen. The change in Jod at the end, which was, I knew was coming eventually.
Yep.
And even with with Fern reminding him that, remember, we have a deal. You get us home, you get a nice reward.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Still didn't stop him.
Nope.
He's going for the whole deal. So he's going to, turn the tables on Fern. He's going to take over the ship, probably throw the kids out of the airlock and go to Ad-Atten anyway, and that kind of thing. So definitely an adventure, more of an adventure than we've been on since episode 2.
Hands down.
In my opinion. So definitely a 4.5. A little bit more into the traps as they were looking for the treasure room.
Would have been great.
Might have actually moved it up to a 4 3/4, but 4.5 for this one. Great episode. Loved it.
I'd have to agree with you on that. And with that, my friends, that is the end of this week's special 2-episode 2 Ewoks in the Park. When we come back next Monday, it'll be a new year. So happy new year to everybody. I hope it's safe. Be good. Don't do anything.
Happy New Year, Carol. We didn't know you were here. You should have said hi.
Yeah, Carol, you didn't even say hi. What's up with that? What's up to do? What's up with that? Boozy says he needs a dad joke real quick.
Oh.
I got a book.
Hang on. Got one right here.
Oh, he's got one right there.
2 guys walk into the bar. The third one ducks. What do you call a masturbating cow? Beef stroganoff.
Oh, there you go. There it is.
There you go.
There it is. So we will be back next Tuesday for the Sully Show. Again, Happy New Year, everybody. Be safe. Hope you get all your goals written down and do whatever you need to. I mean, hell, I got a nice new under the desk walking treadmill for Christmas. So going to be starting to slim down on this dad bod that I got here. Time to get rid of
Nothing wrong with the dad bod.
Nothing wrong with it, but it's time to get rid of it. Yeah, it's not very comfortable. But we will be back next Monday for 2 Ewoks in the Park, where we're going over episode 6 of the Skeleton Crew. And we're going to keep going with that. Probably take a week off between the last episode before we bring back Avenger Pretenders, just so we can give ourselves a rest. Because What If Season 3 came out, and all episodes are out, and I know JT hasn't watched it yet because we're waiting. We're waiting. So catch up, watch them, do what you need to do, have some fun. And as always, for the redneck, there he is. You can't miss him. He's such a nice guy. I am the geek. We will see you all next year. And by the way, just remember, may the force be with you.